Namaste and welcome to Curiosity, where kids share, learn, and have fun together. I'm your host, Sama Chitta. Do you know what is special about July 7th? It's World Chocolate Day. Yum! Some people say that this day celebrates the introduction of chocolate to Europe in 1550. I don't think there's a single person on earth who doesn't like chocolate, except dentists, of course. This week, join me as I take you to the delicious world of chocolate. We will discover a book, chocolate museums and factories, and the history and process of making chocolate. Let's get started with some good news. The first news this week is about an architect from Mumbai who is using carbon from air pollution for making tiles for construction. Tejas Siddal is the founder of Carbon Craft Design and has created a device called Air Ink. The device draws out carbon dioxide out of polluted city air, combines it with a mixture of marble chips, powder, and presses them into beautiful tiles. The patterns on the tiles are inspired from cities such as Delhi, Beijing, London, and New York. One carbon tile is equal to cleaning 30,000 liters of air. Wow, such an inspiring product. The second news is about countries. Can you guess the number of countries in the world? According to United Nations, it is 195. Have you ever thought that there could be countries that officially don't exist, just like some planets that officially don't exist? A Brazilian author, Guilherme Canever, has traveled to 16 such countries. They have their own governments, passports, citizens, and even currency in some cases. But for various complicated reasons, these countries don't officially exist. Some are even left off maps. This week, he published a book, Unrecognized Nations, Travels to Countries That Do Not Exist. He started this project when he was traveling to Africa in 2009 and ended up going to Somaliland. He was shocked to learn that he could not use Somali currency there. Despite gaining independence from Somalia in 1991, Somaliland had never been recognized as a country. Other countries he has visited include Kosovo near Serbia, Abkhazia and South Ossetia near Georgia, and the Republic of Artsakh near Armenia. In my last episode, I spoke about Encyclopedia Britannica, an interesting section on their website which tells us about important events that happened in history on the same day. Starting with this episode, my last news item will cover an important event from history that happened this week, and I'm calling it Wow History. This is Wow History. This week, in 1497, Vasco da Gama, a Portuguese explorer, sailed from Lisbon with a fleet of 4 vessels on his first voyage to India. He ultimately opened a sea route from Western Europe to Asia through the Cape of Good Hope and became the first European to reach India by sea. In 1889, journalist Charles Henry Dow published the first issue of the Wall Street Journal. In 1956, American actor Tom Hanks, who has acted in movies such as Forrest Gump, Terminal, and Sully, was born. And in 1973, Bahamas gained independence from Britain. You are still with me, Samarth, and now it's time for You Should Read, my brief review of a children's book that I loved reading and hope you will too. This week, I will be reviewing the book Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I'm sure that most of you have read the book or watched the movie. It is written by Roald Dahl and illustrated by Quentin Blake. The story is about Mr. Willy Wonka, a chocolate maker, and Charlie Bucket, a poor boy that gets only 1 chocolate per year on his birthday. One day, Charlie's grandpa Joe tells him about how Mr. Willy Wonka has closed his factory to outsiders after other chocolatiers sent spies to steal his recipe. One day, the newspapers announced that Mr. Wonka had decided to reopen his factory and invites 5 lucky children to visit if they find a golden ticket inside a Wonka bar. Charlie Bucket luckily gets one of the tickets and decides to take his grandpa Joe with him to the factory. He's joined by 4 other children, Violet, Augustus, Veruca, and Mike. Mr. Willy Wonka takes them on a tour around the factory. Every room has some chocolate invention. There are Oompa Loompas, a type of creature only found in his factory that work as chocolate makers. Violet, Augustus, Veruca, and Mike fall or do something carelessly in the factory and are sent out in a funny way. But in the end, only Charlie remains, and Mr. Wonka congratulates him for winning the factory. That is, he gets to operate and manage the factory. The story was inspired by Roald Dahl's experience of chocolate companies during his childhood. Cadbury and Rowntree were England's 2 largest chocolate makers, and they often tried to steal each other's recipes by sending spies posing as employees. Because of this, both companies became very secretive about their chocolate making process. It was the secrecy and the giant machines used in the chocolate factories that inspired Roald Dahl to write this book. I give this book a 5 out of 5 on language, 5 out of 5 on illustrations, 5 out of 5 on the story, and overall a septillion out of 5. That is 1 followed by 27 zeros. There are many museums and factories around the world that can help us discover the history of chocolate and the process of chocolate making. In India, you can visit the M&N Chocolate Museum in Ooty. It has over 100 chocolates on display and has also entered the Limca Book of Records for creating India's longest chocolate bar, which is 18 meters in length. Apart from this, the museum contains structures and models prepared out of different kinds of chocolate, including a life-size mannequin which is dressed in clothes made out of chocolate. Hershey's Chocolate World in Pennsylvania, USA, is very popular for its chocolate tours. Most chocolate companies have a tour. You can visit their website and book a tour as per their schedule. And if you're interested to learn how to make chocolate, you can attend the chocolatier program conducted by Art Chocolat. This is designed for beginners, including children, and can be done online as well. You can visit their website www.artchocolat.com for more information. We are almost at the end of the show, and I want to leave you with some interesting information about chocolate. Chocolate comes from the seed of the cacao tree, which grows mostly in Mexico, Central America, and Western Africa. Cacao seeds have a very bitter taste and are fermented to develop the flavor. After fermentation, the beans are dried, cleaned, and roasted. After roasting, the shell is removed to produce cacao nibs, which are then ground into cacao mass, pure chocolate in rough form. This mass is then mixed with other ingredients and molded to give various shapes and flavors. So much to learn about chocolate. I hope you all had fun listening to episode number 8. Chocolate makes everything better. Until next week, stay safe, eat a little bit of chocolate, and Jai Hind from Curiosity.